bitches and hoes and pimps. Pimpin', bitches and hoes and pimps. Pimpin', hoes and bitches, pimpin'. Together, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Glad you made it. It's another social production on September 30th, 2022. It's Friday. Getting ready for the weekend. Bitches and hoes pimpin'. Together as a group. As a gang, the Pimpin' Squad. That's what it is, baby. Oh, doing it with the gang. Wherever you are, whether you're in Toronto, whether you're in Canada, in the US, in Mexico, South America, New Zealand, Australia, Papua New Guinea, Antarctica, Europe, Asia, Africa, the islands, wherever you are, I hope you're doing well. Let's get into it. Let's have some fun, bitches and pimps and hoes pimpin'. Bitches, pimps, and hoes pimpin'. Pimpin', dudes, ladies. Big time pimpin', small time pimpin'. Bitches and hoes. Pimpin', man, if I could, I'm not down with like pimpin', like the actual act of pimpin', but what I do appreciate about it, the attire. I do appreciate a good pimpin' attire, not gonna lie. You know what I mean? Bring back the hats, bring back the cane, bring back the, just the coats on top of coats with the fur. That's what I'm talking about. Pimpin', bitches and hoes are together, pimpin' on a Friday. Yeah, just, oh man, I'm excited about robots coming in. We can I'm telling you guys, ladies, we can be pimping robots, but not just for it doesn't have to be for making love or anything like that. It could just be, you can, there's a little bit of, it's not the actual acquiring of the whatever you want to acquire. It's not sexual. It's not like, sometimes it's kind of like, I kind of at times even miss the fact that weed is legal now. I miss the fact that I could get it from somebody that was, I miss a little bit of the allure, a little bit of the mystique, a little bit of that thrill when you're like, oh, this is pimpin', bitches and hoes together. I miss getting in a random car with a stranger and just, procuring something that's a little bit, but it's, now I walk in like a gentleman and get my stuff. That's what it is. I ran out recently, not gonna lie. I gotta go back and pick up a little bit of weed. Today I actually rolled a joint consisting of stems. You know how sometimes you'll end up with a stash of stems? My devil's lettuce smoking mod lovers know what I'm talking about, because everybody has a stash of stems. Over time it adds up, and I use that, and I wasn't sure if it'll do the trick, but it does the trick every time. That's what I do. I grind up the stems. I'm like, nah, this isn't gonna work, and it works just fine. Not as much as the actual plant itself, but nonetheless it's got THC. The healthcare, it's the healthcare. It's got THC. It's the healthcare. That's what it stands for. That's right. Acronyms. Pimpin' on a Friday, hanging loose. Yeah, so I don't actually want to do the actual pimping. I'd like to have the mystique or the allure or the, oh, it's dangerous. Or not even dangerous. It's a little bit, you roll up in a caddy, you roll up in a car equipped with hydraulics. Oh man, that's what I'm saying. We could still do regular work. We could just do it with, the pimping and hoeing and bitching swagger that comes along with it. How much more fun would you have doing your daily route or whatever it is that if you were pimping, dude? Ladies, you know what I'm talking about. No? Well, let's get into it. Maybe we'll figure it out. Maybe it's a great idea. Maybe it's not. I don't know. We'll see. Pimpin' on a Friday. Bitches and hoes together. That's right. That's right. I'm sticking with it. Would I get a perm if I were a pimp? Would I get a perm if I were? Oh, I get two perms. You know, I double down. Oh, you know it. But then if it's that's the thing. It's perms. I'm not familiar with perms, but I think it stands for permanent. But I don't believe they're actually permanent because you do see people going back and getting it redone. So it's like, that's a little bit of misleading. Should be like a semi-perm, half a perm. That's what. So if it's not even a perm, it's like, what's the opposite of perm? Permanent. Not permanent. Is the opposite of permanent. A quickie. No, that's kind of the opposite of a permanency. Permanent. Just fizzles is something that fizzles out quick. Should be called a fizzle. Should be called. We're gonna come up with a name, but that's how they've managed to do so well over the years. Because you still hear people getting perms, even if they're not pimps, bitches, and hoes. Just reg people pimping with their hair, getting half perms, believing they're getting full perms. There might be a full perm. There might be longer lasting perms. I'm not saying. I don't know how long perms last. I've never had one. But that's what a pimp does. You might grow a pinky nail or two, both for, scratching purposes. Hells yeah. Because, pimps be doing that mad scratching game. That's what pimps do. What else could you use the long pinky nail for? I wonder if it has any other uses. I don't know. Picking your nose, perhaps. That's probably easier with a, sharper pinky nail. That'd be nice. Instead of having to dig in with that thick old index finger of yours. Yeah, lady. Some gentleman talking to you out there. Them thick fingers. Swirl it around with a nice pinky nail. Scoop it all out. That's right. Scoop it all out. You could use it to. You could also use it to. If you're a teacher, if you're anywhere near a blackboard, that one nail on the blackboard. Everyone's attention's grabbed now. You're that attention grabber, aren't you? You pinky nail growing attention grabbing son of a bitch. Keep doing it. But that's the thing. If I were, somebody should just grow one out, because you've seen like their Guinness World Records where there's a lady or a fella that'll just like never cut their nails. But there's no pimp, bitch, and hoe out there that's just got one nail growing, because anybody can do all 10. But it's unique if you just grow just one long fingernail. And what is that good for? What is it not good for? Ever heard of yo-yo? You could kind of just like, because it'll bounce. I'm not sure if it'll like snap or anything. Do you gotta moisten it? Do you gotta lube it up? Do you gotta keep it hydrated so that it doesn't crack? Because I would assume if it gets long, it would get dry, just be brittle. But I don't know too much about, pinky nails being grown out. But do it if you're into it. I supports it. I supports hydraulics. I supports elevation, and I supports it when it's used in public transport as well. You know what I'm saying? Because public transport will do that. You'll be on the bus and sometimes it'll just go just lowering and raising itself. But you're like, oh, if it makes sense if it's for utility. We'll do it if the person's like handicapped or disabled, but not for reg people. That's what I'm saying, man. Everybody, if we just put our minds together, and we could achieve that. It doesn't have to be just for, why do I wouldn't mind the bus lowering every once in a while if I were to get on it. Just lower it down, baby. You know what I'm saying? Why should I have to take an entire proper step? You're like, because you're lucky enough to have legs. Okay, fine. All right, got me. But still, I'd like to be able to go up and down. Why not? People on disabilities get to enjoy that. And you're on the bus anyway. It might go up and down. But that's the thing. I want consistency. You know what I mean? But I guess, too much of a good thing can become mundane as well. So maybe, you know what, we'll leave it be. In terms of public transport, sure, we'll leave it be. But red cars should be, man, if more people just had hydraulics on their cars, how much fun would traffic be for a good 24 hours, 48 hours, and then probably still become mundane again because you're like, man. But that's the thing, like imagine the first time everybody's stuck in traffic behind a red light, just a bunch of cars just like, going up and down. That's entertaining, you know what I mean? That's fun. That should happen for a day or two at least. And yeah, when we can do those things, things that are tangible, we're just like, oh, let's focus on, it's making cars electric. But hydraulics, way more fun. I think way more people would opt for hydraulic cars than they would for, the plug-in, plug-out system, because that's just, I'm over it. 2 batteries, get out of here. And it can be turned on and off. You never know, dude. You never know if it's like, that's the thing with computerized high-tech vehicles. Yeah, I like a nice little key, goes inside the ignition. I got control of that bad boy. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. So that's what I'm saying, man. We should bring it back. What would you guys and gals do? What would your outfits be? Would you be wearing them big hats? Would you get a perm? Would you grow out your pinky? You could also scratch your butt, Got an itch? Scratch that itch, baby. That's what it's there for. Scratch somebody else's itch. And that's clean as hell. I'm telling you. Can't go wrong. That's what we used to do. Scratch my back, I scratch yours. Where do you think the saying comes from? Pimpin' bitches and hoes together. It's fun times. It's Friday. It's easy times, baby. It's not that it's easy times. It's like, we're easing into the weekend. That's what it is. I hope you're all having fun. I hope you're all safe and sound wherever you are. It takes all of us to tango and mango together, baby. Learning as we go along. I got another chance to go on site yesterday and give my friend a little hand at his workplace. For those of you who've been with me, sometimes certain things I guess are interconnected in terms of our stories. So yeah, last week I got a chance to go give my friend a hand at his workplace, and I got a chance to do it for a few hours yesterday as well. Very eye-opening. It's nice to see people in a creative area just, everybody's doing their little thing, pitching in, and then all of a sudden, project's finished, and you got this massive space that's, oh man, just buzzing with all sorts of goodness. That's what it is, baby. So I'm thankful for living, thankful for learning. And it's humbling, man. You go and do certain things and just remind you, because when you're like, oh man, it takes you back to a beginner step. And I'm just like, I'm there. I'm out of my element. It's not my element. I'm in a new space, just out of my element. Learning, observing mostly, taking it in, giving it out, mostly taking it in. There was some output, not gonna lie, but I did my best. And that's what matters in life. Showing up, being open, doing your best, and learn and have fun. That's what life is all about. That's what it is, baby. Then we're doing it together. So I'm thankful. It's a nice reminder. It's a nice reminder that everything, and you see everybody else on their journey, on their path, that they put in time, dedication to their craft, and it's like, coming into fruition in different forms, and it just reminds you that we're all literally the same. Doing different things, but literally the same, give or take. The same. Different, but the same. Different, yet the same. Same. Difference. Pimpin' bitches and hoes on a Friday. Together. What else is going on, man? It is, I'm just looking to, little by little, we're making moves. Progress comes in small strides. Hopefully, I'm in contact with the local comedy clubs, one in particular, and I'm going to be reaching out to other ones. That's what I'm doing in life, trying to get more spots. That's on the horizon, that's on the agenda. Get more slots, get more practice, have some fun, learn on stage, grow, expand, tickle each other's membranes. And that's what it is, baby. We do this every Monday, every Wednesday, every Friday. Where can you find these videos? YouTube, Instagram, Patreon. That's what we do. What else is going on? Man, a lot of things, not gonna lie. A lot of things have been going on in and around the world. And what do we do here? We talk about everything and nothing. We keep it silly. We keep it loose. Queefing on a Friday together. That's what we do. That's what we do around here. That's what we do. A lot of things happening. A lot of people are, you know, in terms of global events. What's happening in global events? What is happening in, you know, major thing that's been going on for 200 and some odd days now? I guess the war in Ukraine's still going on. The occupation, the annexation. These are the terms that you'll be hearing, that you are hearing, that you're seeing. There's video footage. There's, oh man, your heart goes out to people on, just regular people on all sides, you know, no matter where they're from. There's that happening right now in Ukraine. My heart goes out to my Russian and Ukrainian homies and home gals who just want to be living, you know, good lives, doing their best peacefully alongside each other. And that's, you know, shout out to everybody. There's that's been going on. And yeah, there's been, you know, I hear it, like many of you guys hear it, you read about it, and you're like, oh man, this is, it's good times. It's good times. That's what it is. It's good times. We're easing into it. But at the same rate, yeah, there's definitely stuff that is concerning, to say the least. Potential nuclear warfare of sorts. Man, oh man. Don't want any of that. I don't think anybody does. And you read it, you don't want to talk about it, you don't want to, but that's, you know, it's a thing. It's a thing. Which is, you know, and that's, you know, I hope it never happens, obviously. And I don't know how it would happen, because that's the thing, you hear about these things, and we've had it happen in history before. And we've had so many other nuclear bombs going off as well. It's not like we've never used nuclear bombs or anything, but like, man, I hope it never happens. But if it does, geez Louise, it's gonna be a game changer for sure. Let's hope it doesn't come to that. I would hope that everybody at the end of the day would use common sense, but that is, a lot of times, you know, common sense isn't that common, is it? You know, good times, living life. There's that happening right now. There's a lot of, you know, and I guess a lot of people are talking about it. It's made global headlines. It's a thing, became a thing. I wrote about it a little bit. I thought about it a little bit. Wasn't sure if I was going to talk about it, to be very honest. You know, then I'm like, I should talk about it. Not because like I should, like, that's the thing. At the end of the day, I'm like, I shouldn't censor any of my thoughts or my opinions, because everybody's got a right to their opinion and everybody's got a right to their thoughts. But yeah, I took a little bit of time with it. And I still don't know if I've got any sort of clarity on the matter. I don't know if any of us do. I'm hoping some of us do. I'm hoping others, hoping we can all gain a little bit of clarity. I guess in the past, I forget the date, but recently an Iranian girl in Iran was murdered by the Islamic Republic of Iran, the governing body that's in charge. It made headlines globally. I believe she was 22 years old. And I don't know too much about it in terms of, well, that's the thing. And I wrote and I thought, and I wasn't, I'm trying to, for me, I was trying to like tackle it from a, well, let's just get into it. I'm just gonna, man, yeah, this is we'll just get into it. Let me have a sip of this bad boy and we'll get into it. Okay, pimpin' bitches and hoes on a Friday together. Okay, if I were to give you a breakdown of, or not, it's not even a breakdown, it's a breakup. There's a breakup, it's a breakdown. I'm gonna break it up and down. Because every issue has to be, there's funny in everything, there's a joke in there somewhere, reach for it. Oh man, we're like, oh, reaching. It's like, oh, the body's on the table, the cadaver, the body's on the table, not a cadaver yet, still with us. We're doing operation. Oh, it's operation time. We're I'm knee deep inside the body, and I'm trying to like, oh man, this heart needs to just move a little bit here. I'm just, switching around the feng shui of that anatomy a little bit, if I may, if I could. But oh man, gross, right? Nobody likes that. Unless you're a doctor, then you're like, you're into this portion of this material is like directly hitting the doctors right here. They're like, oh man, I love the way he described how like moving the heart inside. How do you know so much about biology? It's like, dude, I'm right there with you in the operating room. Not really, but and mind, body, spirit. You're on your own, dude. If you're asking for help, like, I'll bring a hot towel. I'll bring the boiled water. I'll just pour boiled water on the patient. Do whatever you need, because you're the operator. You're the operator? That's what they call them, right? Operators in the operating room, wearing train operator hats and maybe overalls, as operators do. But that's just that's standard procedure. Anyway, anywhere, anytime. We were talking about a young lady who got murked. This lady, and that's what it is, man. It's because it got me to think about different aspects, and I don't even know how I'm gonna get into it. To be very honest, this day, man, it's okay. You're like, what's happening? Great question. Bitches and hoes and pimps in Iran want to be bitches and hoes and be pimping. That's what I'm getting at, I think. That's been the stat, like, from the dawn of time. Bitches, pimps, and hoes wanted to be bitches, pimps, and hoes and live life like the way bitches, pimps, and hoes do. And everybody should have that right. I just place my tits on the table because sometimes, man, these things get heavy. You just gotta set them aside for a second so I can relax. Bitches, pimps, and hoes on a Friday. So, bitches, pimps, and hoes in the Iran want to be bitches, pimps, and hoes. They were pimping, bitching, hoeing around regularly like everybody else was pitching, pimping, hoeing around until 1979. And then screeching halt to the bitchin', pimpin', hoeing activities. And then these are factual historical events. You can look it up for yourselves. Look it up, right? 1979 in the Iran. Bitches, pimps, and hoes. Pictures, videos, reg people bitchin', hoeing, pimpin'. The way God intended it to be. Oh man, speaking of God, so what happened? What happened, Wagwan? What happened, fam? Things happened, a coup happened. Coup happened in the Iran. Different bodies involved. Multiple bodies, several bodies involved. Clandestine units were involved. That's aside the point. Fast forward 40 some odd years since 79, the regime who took over came in and they're like, we're gonna stop the pimping, hoeing, and bitching. We're gonna get woke. Essentially, they invented wokeness 40 years ago. I guess it's always been around in history, but it just it emerges it manifests in different formats, you might say. But that's what it was till 1979. Right country, wasn't perfect. It had its monarchy. Monarchy wasn't perfect. But it was all right. It was doing okay, thanks. Probably not the best. Probably not the worst either. From what I've seen, from what I've read, from what I've gathered. And that's minimal. Gathering is difficult to find like pure, solid information, and it changes. That's information, but. Country got overtaken by an Islamic cult, an Islamic clergy class. They call themselves the mullahs, and they had a cult figure, cult of personality situation. There was an Ayatollah. He did a lot of what do Ayatollahs do? He did a lot of dark arts, black magic, Jedi mind tricks on the people. He's like, oh, I'm gonna take care of you. Not even he didn't. It is magnificent how sometimes things get done because you're like, man, how does it? Do you ever look at history and you're like, man, how does it? One person can do like whatever, and yeah. It may seem as if it's just one person, but from the gathering of the information, it's definitely there's a face to it all, but there's definitely many other aspects and just things going on in the background that assist the sitch. So to make that happen, things happened. Guy gets in, bushy eyebrows, bushy face, towel on his head. Says he's what do Ayatollahs do? It's in the name. If the exact translation loosely, I guess an Ayatollah would be somebody who's like a representative of God. That's kind of like, or like God's word essentially. If you really break it down and be like, 'cause it's a foreign word. You're like, what is an Ayatollah? I barely know myself. I'm still trying. It's a cult figure thing. Okay, like a high priest sort of sitch / mysterious, semi-deity sort of sitch, if you can, very, yeah, it's a cult. It's a cult. Cult of personality comes with a cult figure. Hairy, stern face, mean looking motherfucker. Just like, personification of evil into human form, because you're like, man, there's like 99.9% of the world is so beautiful. Most people are gooch, but there's got to be an example of everything, and that is a manifestation of just like, if you can, the essence of pure evil and like, ick, right there, in human form. And you're like, can that happen? It does. Every now and again, it happens. Fella came in, beguiled the nation. The nation was getting woke, if I can summarize the whole thing, because they were, I wasn't there back then. I was. That's the thing. So I'm telling you events that I was not there to see for myself, but from what I hear from family members, from the stories that you might hear, it was I don't know how it was. I can't tell you how it was under the monarchy, but from what I gather, it wasn't perfect, but it was definitely way better than what has been going on in Iran for the past 40 years. Because in the past 40 years, ever since the revolution, it has now become a pariah state. It is the government is a terrorist organization. The entirety of the government is a terrorist organization. If there's any, sometimes I got to be like really clear with certain things. They, and that's, you're like, what do terrorist organizations like to do? What are they good at? Man, what are they not good at? A lot of things. They're not good at a lot of things, but niche little things, terrorizing. They're good at terrorizing. And you're like, what do they terrorize? Everything and anyone within proximity. It doesn't matter. You're like, is it a male female thing? No. Because you might be hearing this and you're like, man, is it a male female thing? Solely female? No, it's just like everybody. It's male, female, child, the elderly, animal abuse, like just terrorizing. Like I'm telling you, man, it's like the essence of, because humans are capable, man. We're so capable of so many beautiful, wonderful things, and we all have these things within us, right? The good and evil that we all gotta, keep fanning the flames of the positivity in your little vessel. You know what I mean? Keep an eye on that other wolf, because everybody's got it. Everybody's got that, right? But that's like the personification of fanning the oh man, the stuff with the bad juju. So they're in there terrorizing and killing and murdering and raping people, and they're really good at it. They're really good at it. Why are they really good at it? It's literally concentration. Like for 40 years, imagine they're way beyond their 10,000 hours of like, they're really good at it. So what is it based upon? I don't know. Total nonsense. What is it justified by? And sometimes protected, but now the veil has been removed. It's getting removed. What's under the veil? Tits, dude. Beautiful Iranian tits. Oh man, beautiful Iranian tits, dude. And what's underneath all of that? Oh man. You'll see it very soon. You'll see a lot of it. Not probably like soon, but it's coming. It'll be coming. That's the way of circle of life. And you've seen Lion King. You've seen Lion Kings in history. You've seen what happens to Lion Kings. The ones that get in there and they're like, we'll share we'll go hunting and then we'll share everything together. And then you go hunting and then all of a sudden the Lion King gets in there and he's like, no, all mine, all mine. Sometimes and it's like, you're like, that's not how Lion King goes. I don't know. And then what happens in nature? What happens in nature when a bunch of young lions see this old? I apologize, ran into a little bit of technical difficulty. This normally doesn't happen. Picking up where we left off. Oh man, that took me like 5 to 10 minutes to get back up and running and recording. I don't know what happened to the camera. Mysteriously turned off. It was, I don't know, probably got overheated. But where were we? The Lion King. Yes, the hunting has been done, the gathering has been done, and the Lion King, who previously said we're going to share these, is no longer sharezying, and not even, lost my trail of thought completely with that story due to this interruption. But nonetheless, what I'm trying to get to, that it is a tricky situation. There's a Lion King involved, and that's the young cubs gather together, and it doesn't end too well for the Lion King and wilderness and nature. And man, animals and humans, very interesting. Animals are humans. No, humans are animals. Humans are animals. Some animals out there be fun, not gonna lie. Learning sign language, using sound waves under the sea to do correspondence, Morse coding underwater. Man, I wonder if animals who do Morse coding or like sound wave have also got, anal beats. Maybe that's another method, because you heard of that recently, I think, popping up, if I'm not mistaken, in the chess world. But that's aside the point. You're like, how do animals communicate? Anal beats. And sound waves. Like dolphins. Underwater. I can't make dolphin noises. That's my dolphin impersonation. What do dolphins like? Each other, and other fishes, and other humans too. But that's aside the point. Let's not get sidetracked. Messy situation has risen, and for the past few days, almost a week, maybe 10 days, I've not kept too close an eye on things. I just, as much as anything else, but this is, I guess, major news, major events. And it is, it's one of those situations where you're like, how do we deal with this? We don't got to do nothing. If you're here, you just do your, you just live life the best way you know how. If you're there, man, like anywhere else, your heart goes up. But that's the thing, man. It's a tricky situation. And yeah, so the mullahs like to come in there and use Islam as a way of, hiding their, I don't even know what to call it, because it's just inhumane. It's inhumane what they do to the Iranian people. Vast majority of Iranians don't like the regime, and that's what it is. And what are the man, if I could, what are solutions? You let bitches and hoes and pimps be pimping and hoeing and bitching like normal people, problem solved. But it's not always that easy. There's many sides. There's man, it's a tricky situation. It's a tricky situation. What could it has to come from within. Whatever it has to. That's what it is. It has to, and it's not an easy situation where it's going to be just like freedom's never handed over. You know what I mean? You gotta get in there, and it's easy for somebody, again, outside the ring, to be like, you gotta fight for it, because it's easy for me to be like, yeah, you gotta fight for it. I'm live it, baby. That's what it is. Shout out to Daddy-O, making good decisions. But that's life, and that's the thing. So it's like, my heart goes out to anybody in any place in the world where they're like, oh man, I got circumstances to deal with due to poor governance, and what have you. Because resources are ample everywhere, right? Like the necessities, the basics, and like human rights. Man, we should just, to simplify things, I do really believe we should have like universal human rights where it's like at least certain amount of things are like, you know, just basic human rights. Certain things should just be, and like as much as I've grown to, again, growing up, didn't have religion at all in my life, came to discover a little bit here and there on my own. I've said this before, I really do admire the Judeo-Christian Western philosophy of life. Very simple, easy, breezy, and I don't know too much about it to be like, oh, you gotta do this, that, the other way, or what have you. But it is, yeah, man, if we could just like all kind of like, and I'm not saying get rid of different things, but at least like, you know, I like the separation of church and state. That I can like, oh man, I really don't, you know, in terms of, if I'm being completely honest, and I'm 100% honest with you guys out there, I don't think Islam is a suitable way to govern a country. Now, for personal religious practices, personally, you can do whatever you like, but man, again, I don't think any religion is good intertwined with politics. I think there definitely should be, because yes, humans innately have a desire to gather together in mass. People like that shit. We're like, because we're like cool one-on-one, but when we're like together in a hive, baby, it's misbehaving time up in this. I wanted to say misbehaving, so I fucked that up. But you know what I'm saying, it's misbehaving time, you know? That would have made better. Oh, man, fuck. Okay, but point is, bitchin', pimpin', and hoes, and pimpin' on a Friday. Point is, yeah, what should happen? I don't know. If there were, you know, if they were asking questions of like, what should happen? I'd be like, separation of church and state would be bueno. Removal of all sorts of mandatory clothing, attire, or any sort of like prescription on how to live your life should be removed from the realm of governance and just be left to the ordinary citizens to decide on their own. And with that being said, to make it easy breezy, I think that Iran should just convert overall to Christianity or Judaism. And man, wouldn't it be nice to have everybody aligned? But you're like, what about the Islamic world? Man, there's already plenty of that. And okay, fine. But that's just I'm just throwing out ideas, dude. Iran goes and becomes a Christian, Judeo / a little bit of, I guess, Islam in there, because you got to keep or not. I'm just saying, if it, man, Judeo-Christian Iran, dude, or like, you're like, what did they have anything else before the Abrahamic religions that you're naming? They did. Dude named Zoroaster, I think, had wings. You've seen him, maybe not, but he had wings apparently. Flew, you know. Some people walk on water. This fella flew. He had wings. I've seen the images. That's what it says. Very, you know, he was the head prophet of sorts, and it had nothing to do with money back then. Thousands of years ago. Really basic doctrine. Good thoughts, good words, good deeds. Very, very basic. The elements, the very basic. I think there was an introduction of, you know, good versus evil, but that we don't need to get into those. You know, that's just too much. So let's focus on, you know, what's important, what's at sight. What are we doing here now? Now, pimpin', bitches and hoes. Right now, yeah. So we were like, throwing out ideas, you know, because like Saudi Arabia can be like they could be like, they too can convert to Judeo-Christian. Live and let live doctrines, but you know, you're like, oh, there's got to be an imbalance somewhere. Yes, no, yes. So, and yeah, because like Iran historically, if I'm probably wrong, or maybe right, I don't know, but it's not about right and wrong, is it? It's not about right or wrong. Until the 13th century, when they got conquered by the Arabian world, they were, I think, not Muslim, from what I gather. You know? Does that fall under, you know, Does Zoroastrianism fall under, I guess, is that like, what is that? I don't know too much about it, to be honest. That's what it is. Is it a pagan religion? Would it qualify as a pagan religion? I don't know, maybe. Maybe. But that's that. Point is, fam, that yeah, Saudi Arabia is like the birthplace of Islam, if I'm not mistaken. And then Iran got conquered. Back then it was called Persia. You're like, is it called Persia now? Not really. Do people like the term? Yes, for obvious reasons, because like you hear Persia, you're like, oh man, what is that? Did you say Parisian? Are we talking Paris? And your Iranian friends will nonchalantly just be like, yeah, it is what it is. Let's not get into the details of how you pronounce the name of the place. All right. Oh, we really got to narrow it down, don't we? It's the Iran. It's what it is. And no, it's not Persia. It's the Iran. They changed that a long time ago, just as today we don't call Italy Rome. You know, you're like, oh, what they were. What's going on right now, dude? It's the Iran. And it used to be the Iran, but the Islamic Republic got added. See, that's what it is, man. That's what it is, man. It's all in the wording. The Islamic Republic got added to the name, and it just became, forget about Iran. It's now just the Islamic Republic is what it is. So it could just be Islamic Republic of anything. The Iran really doesn't matter at this point. And you're like, but it does. But I'm talking like in real life, like if you look around, it doesn't. But anyway, we were saying, yeah, hard convert, like just one day conversion, everybody gets baptized. Judeo-Christian, just Christian, Judeo-Christian. Oh, aren't we all in harmony? Bueno. Fine, you want to keep it Muslim, keep it Muzzy, dude. Keep it Islam, if you like. But separate the old church and state. Remove the ladies' headscarves, put a couple of tits on the beaches. Oh man, Iranian tits on beaches. Iranian tits on beaches have not been a thing for 40 years, which is, man, I endorse it. Titty right there, titty right there, titty everywhere. That's what it is. Bitches, pimpin'. What were we talking about? All of it. Talking about all of it. So yeah, these mullahs, the clergy got in power. They're like, we're gonna crack down. We're gonna get woke. You can't say what you think. You can't think what you think. There's right speech. There's wrong speech. There's no speech. There is rape, murder, all sorts of silencing. And this goes on a regular. So I know this in the past week, this made major headlines. And they're like, oh, this young lady, the regime killed one young lady. One young lady has become the symbol of this thing has been going on for like 40 years. This is not new and it sucks. And that lady, unfortunately, but that's the thing. Another thing that, the Iran, unfortunately, has become it is incredible what 40 years of brainwashing can do to a population, man. Because it's become a culture of, and again, these are just my opinions, dog. You may or may not agree with them. I don't particularly care. I'm not here to, we're breaking it down. We're having fun with it, and it's something that I had to because I wrote about it and I thought about it, and it was on my mind. I'm like, get it out so that we can move on to other things, better things, bigger things. Point is, yeah, the culture in Iran, unfortunately, because once you get Islam in place, that becomes the ruling doctrine of the nation. You no longer have normal day-to-day etiquette, behavior, just regular going and coming becomes very difficult. So there's not much. Let's just put it in simple forms. What I'm trying to say that over the past 40 years, Iranians have, I guess, the culture has shifted from a regular culture of people who used to celebrate things, be joyful, be happy, to a now 40 years of just the only thing you could celebrate is a culture of mourning and martyrdom. So, these mullahs, these clergy classes, start with schooling. They get the kids, obviously, they indoctrinate everybody, and, it becomes, for a lot of people don't agree with it, obviously, but that is the ruling power. And you can imagine 40 years of being persistent with your message. It seeps through all levels of society and it takes over everything, and it's just a nightmare. oh God, a walking nightmare. And basically they turn themselves and others who give into that doctrine, basically turn them into zombies. It's man, it's like, it's a cult, dude. It's a nation. Can you imagine? Like, I don't know, it's hard to explain to people sometimes because like everybody, it's certain words get thrown out sometimes. Oh, like cult this, but like cult, but like on a massive scale. Can you imagine that? Man, it's a thing, dude. It's a thing, and it's weird. It is so weird. If you've got a chance to visit, I don't recommend it because of the safety reasons, what have you. But if you do get a chance to, and don't go there with like, yeah, I'm not saying do whatever you want to do. I'm just saying it is fascinating to see. I think the population is roughly like 80 million people right now. It's fascinating to see throughout history what mind control, essentially mass mind hypnosis, whatever you want to call it, mass psychosis. Man, Iran's gonna be, that region has been, I'm gonna be honest with you, it's been fucked. It's been fucked, like literally, figuratively, metaphorically, in every shape or form that you can think of. And it's not just like a male or female thing. It's like, again, they don't stop at men, they don't stop at women, they don't stop at children, animals, nature. Good God, it's just like, again, worst human features manifesting. It comes through like when Islam takes over a country and starts to govern. That is, oh, good luck. So it's like literally to the peepsies, my heart goes out, good luck. But that's the thing, you gotta like, oh, gladiators, dude. You gotta like, you gotta fight for your freedom. You can't, but it's easy again for me to be like, fight for your freedom. And that's the thing, I don't think it's wise for anybody else to kind of get involved just because, so that's the thing, I think if any change is gonna come, it's gonna come from the people, by the people, for the people, doing pimping, bitching, and hoeing around with their chests out. And there's gonna be, man, it's gonna be, and I don't know what will happen. My heart goes out, but it is interesting because these things get us thinking about it. When I was writing, when I was thinking, trying to just basically make sense of it and maybe come up with jokes. But this was, I guess, not a joke plenty topic for your boy. I gotta say, I was having a difficult time with it. But it is nice to see the parallels in thinking in terms of how, well, you're like, you use the woke term and you're like, they came up with, I'm not saying they came up with it, I'm saying that type of mentality has existed probably in history throughout time in different formats, but that essential dogmatic point of view of it's our way or the highway or no way at all. It's our way. This is one way we're gonna do it. Don't question it. Where else did we see those similar thoughts or messages being pushed? We saw it, I guess, during the pandy. Science took the role of, I guess, religion or dogma or doctrine. It became very hard to question things. You'd be easily, people were divided, and you're like, and that is a great example, I think, for us to look at ourselves and be. And that's what I was talking about, since we all have like both the good and evil within us, or whatever. Like, it's, I don't know what I'm trying to say, if that makes any sense, but yeah, I think there's just parallels between those two things, religious or dogmatic thinking and telling people to this, there's one recipe, one remedy for everything, whether it be religion or whether it be science or whether it be another thing that's, it could be, the next thing could be climate, the next thing could be food, and we got to get rid of meat and stuff like that. Anything can become dogmatic, everything can be abused, and religion in that particular region of the world, definitely abused. Like, there's no if and or, it's just what it is. So, Solush, because Iran didn't really, if Iran was like proper Muslim, or not proper Muslim, but like, that's, you got the Shiites and the Sunnis, and that's like, in basic formats, it's like Protestants versus Catholics, and Iran basically didn't really want to, they had to adopt Islam, but they wanted to do it, I guess, in their own way. So I'm just like, yo, why don't we just like, just so we have a religion in place in Iran, so that, and it's in alliance with the rest of the world, Judeo-Christian Iran, or just reg Iran, no religion, if you must have religion, I mean, the people there that's become, oh man, I don't know. That's what I'm saying, dude. I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying, but all I'm saying is what has been going on has not been working. But and this is not a first. I guess this is now because of technology and like everything getting recorded these days. These are the beauties of the tech that we have access to, because you get to see videos, live updates from this place and that place around the world, and it gives you a kind of a depiction of what is going on the ground, which is very interesting. We didn't have that before. But you know, that's just a little bit of global events for you. That's just a little bit of people being people. And yeah, we should take these lessons here in the West and look at different countries and look at different activities that we've done in the past and be like, okay, you know, when we talk about freedom of choice, freedom of speech, when we talk about bodily autonomy, medicinal autonomy, you know, these we've all had in the past 2 years in North America and the Western culture, like these debates have been coming up. Oh, my body, my choice. Again, these are the things that a lot of the populace was divided on. And yeah, there's definitely, you know, certain governmental bodies and institutions and, you know, big, large pharmaceutical companies, large corporations, a lot of the old school mainstream media that were fanning the flames of fear. And that's, you know, oh, do this thing. And that is pretty much the same as what I guess the Islamic Republic has done as a regime onto a populace, except replace medicine and science with religion. But it is the same mentality of we're going to be behaving in a particular manner because of the greater good. We're going to be saying these things are good, these things are bad, and we're going to draw a line and divide people. And so seeing, yeah, coming from that, having experienced that, it was interesting to see the local news, you know, not the local news, rather the global news, depicting what is going on in the Iran. And it's funny to see the cognitive dissonance because yeah, it's easy for us to be like, oh, women down there, save the women. They can't, you know, they can't dress the way they want to dress. Their body, their choice, their, you know, but in certain times, the same people who would, I guess, champion women's rights here would be, you know, saying, you know, go get a shot, go get a vaccine, go get a booster, just for the sake of the greater good. And these are interesting parallels that we should learn from and hopefully not repeat. And yeah, in terms of, man, it's gonna be that part of the world is, it's a tricky part of the world. It is like any other place, really. But yeah, I think there is gonna be, I don't know, eventually things will have to shift because we do live in a global world where everybody's connected, everybody wants to communicate together via the internet, via in person, and it does touch a certain place in my heart, just knowing, I guess, where I've come from, like knowing 40 something years ago, back in 79, this country, despite the fact that it wasn't perfect, still was a part of the global marketplace, was a friendly nation to many, had relations with Israel, with the United States. People could come in and go in and out of Iran freely without having to get a visa. And for the past 40 years, the government is basically gotten better and better at becoming a terrorist state. So with that being said, I do believe the large majority of people in Iran are, you know, young, educated people who don't agree with the regime. And yeah, I don't know what the solution is, but I think it's a battle and a problem that they probably have to solve on their own. And it's not gonna, I don't think, you know, yeah, I don't think much, yeah, I don't really have much more to say about it, to be honest. That's actually basically, because it is a tricky situation, but yeah, those parallels are very interesting to look at. And I know today, you know, we didn't talk about the jokes and the silliness as much. I tried to, you know, mostly come in here and have fun. And any topic that we do talk about, I try to like tackle it from a comedic perspective. But this was a challenging one for me. I'm not gonna lie to you. I wrote a little bit. I thought a little bit. I, you know, crumpled up some pieces of paper, tossed it out. And that's not even, you know, not to say that it's just what it is. It's just what it is. And sometimes, yeah, I do feel like I just got to get certain things out so that we can move forward. And thank you for everybody who's been a part of my life. And that's what it is. I think that's what it means to live a wholesome life, or as close to as being wholesome as possible, by being just truthful to ourselves, being truthful and holistic, and all as holistic as possible, if that makes any sense. And taking everything, trying to learn from it, grow, have fun, and support each other, and get stronger, better, faster, with sharper nips. And that's what I'm saying. Pimpin' on a Friday with bitches and hoes. So yeah, sip to everybody out there. Shout out to everybody, all the men and women, you guys and gals doing amazing work wherever you are, doing whatever it is in whatever field that you're passionate about, whether it's sports, whether it's health, whether it's medicine, whether it's law enforcement, whether it's the arts. Maybe you're out there working with your hands, maybe you're a craftsman or woman, maybe you're in the deep seas working with the smart jellyfish, catching an octopus, wrestling with it, and then catching and releasing, baby. You feel me? Maybe you're out there welding under the ocean. Whatever you're doing, I wish you all the best of luck in your endeavors and your journeys. Thank you again for being a part of my life. Where can you find these videos? On Instagram, on YouTube, on Patreon, if you'd like to fiscally support this show to help it grow. Hit those follow buttons, subscribe on YouTube for the full-length videos, and once again, we are here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Love you with all my heart. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. I'll see you guys back here again on Monday. Peace out.